Well, good morning. How's everybody doing today? I'm Connie Fuksa with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership and make sure that the home buying process is very smooth and simple to understand so you can actually enjoy purchasing that dream home. Welcome to Coffee with Connie. I appreciate your time, and I know it takes a lot at first thing in the morning when you've got all kinds of things going on to take the time to tune in to some things we're talking about. I really appreciate your time. If you happen to be on live with us, check in and say hey. Thanks so much for your time. Hey, Chelsea, how are you this morning? So this morning I wanted to talk about something that comes up a lot, more often than you would think. Because a lot of times when people want to buy a piece of property in their business, maybe it's the first time they've ever done it, or maybe they bought a piece of property in their business and they need to sell that piece of property, and there's some nuances or some things that are a little bit different that need to be taken care of a little bit differently than if it was your actual home. So let's start off with buying. A lot of the things are similar, just a little bit on the reverse if you're buying or selling. But let's say you want to buy a piece of property in your business name. Let's say you have a heating and air conditioning company and you want to buy a warehouse so that you have somewhere to store all your materials and your vehicles, and you want to buy that piece of property in your business name for tax purposes and for liability and legal purposes. So when you want to purchase that piece of property in your business name, typically when you're doing the contract is when you'd actually want to make sure that the contract is in the business name. You have to make sure that your business is in good standing. That business has to be in good standing with the state in order for it to transact business. You have to remember that even though you're signing on behalf of that business, the business is the entity that's doing the purchasing. So the business itself has to have paid its taxes, been up to date on all of its filings and its filing fees in the proper state, and all of the information has to be up to date, and the business has to be in good standing. And typically good standing means that that state agency that regulates those business licenses and the business entities has to have all of the paperwork that they need, and they have to provide a certificate that's called a certificate of good standing in most states. In some states it's a little bit different wording, but they provide a certificate stating that yes, everything's been paid, everything's been taken care of, they're up to date on all of their paperwork, and this business can transact business. So we'll require that kind of paperwork to make sure that that business can act on its behalf. Now, as I said, you're the owner, so you're going to be the person that's signing the documents as the business, but you yourself are not purchasing it, so it isn't really about what your abilities are, it's about the business itself. So let's talk about if you're selling a business, you're going to need to have a certificate of good standing. Good morning, Miss Karen. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. She's one of my loyal watchers, and she always shares for me, so thanks so much. And let me remind you, if you're watching and you find any of the information that we share valuable, please hit the share button. That way you can share with people that you know so that those people can get this valuable information as well. So a certificate of good standing is what the state entity provides, stating that that business can transact business. That business is in good standing. Some other things that might be necessary are, depending on what type of a business you are, some documentation about who is allowed to sign on behalf of that business. So if it's an LLC or a partnership, there's going to be a partnership agreement or an operating agreement that says this is what this business entity does, this is who can sign on its behalf, and these are the things that that person can sign for that business entity. If it's a corporation, depending on the type of corporation, there may be some different documents. There'll be some articles of organization that show that it is a legal entity and what the actual name of the entity is, and then there's going to be a secretary certificate that actually spells out who can sign on behalf of that organization. So just like with some other situations, this business entity has to have the proper documentation to be able to sell or buy a piece of property. Both the title company is going to require it, and if they're buying a piece of property and they're borrowing money, the mortgage lender is going to require it. The mortgage lender may also require some guarantees from the individuals that are the principals of the organization. But the entity itself has to be in good standing, has to have its proper documentation together to explain what the organization is, that it is formed properly, and that the people that are signing signing on the behalf of the entity can sign on that behalf. And that's true of any type of entity, not just a business, but a church or a government organization or a nonprofit, any organization or entity that's not a physical human being. In order to actually convey, sell, or buy property, has to have the proper documentation to determine who they are, what their purpose is, who's allowed to sign on their behalf, and that they're in good standing in that state. So just a little tidbit. This is some information that has come up with me before. Thought I would help you guys a little bit. So maybe I didn't answer an exact question that you have. Maybe it spurred a question that you might have. And so for that, I want to make sure that even if we're spurring a question, that you reach out to any of us on our team, www.foottetitlegroup.com. There's lots of resources on there, and there's specific things about business entities as well. But there's also contact information for everybody on our team in both Maryland and Virginia. We're licensed in both states and can help you either of those places. Although this information today is the valid information for anywhere across the United States. So hopefully I helped you guys with a little bit of information. By the way, our latest piece of information brochure is 4 ways of moving with kids. And so it gives you some nuances or maybe some little tricks on things that can help you out if you're moving with small children. It's on our website as well. On the front page, it's the feature piece. So go in and download that information. You can also calculate closing costs right on our website. So if there's something you have a question about, maybe you want an idea of what something might cost, you have to go in and register. And the reason is so that you can save that quote, so you can go back in and just change some of the numbers. And maybe if you're looking at a new house or you're looking to sell a house, it'll give you some of those closing cost figures to help you figure out what those costs might be when you go to do that, just to get a little idea in your mind. So www.footetitlegroup.com. It should give you all the resources you need. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I love talking to you. Please share the video. And also, please let me know if you have any questions that I can help you with today or any day in the near future. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm Connie Fuksa with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. And this is Coffee with Connie. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.